I picked up a set of these solar lights from Amazon. The plan was to mount them along one edge of the house, but right after they arrived, I came across the story of a solar light starting a house fire in Tennessee last year. While I had these lights set up outside for testing, I took a closer look at that story. At first, I thought it was just another sensational headline, but after reading the details, I'm now pretty sure the fire could have been caused by the lithium-ion battery inside one of those small solar lights. For this light, one thing that really stands out on the label is what's missing. Any safety lab markings like UL, ETL, or similar certifications. I know those independent testing labs aren't cheap to use. For an off-brand light like this, the chances of it having gone through that kind of rigorous third-party testing are pretty slim. So I thought I might need to do my own testing. You can make lithium-ion batteries vent or explode with extreme abuse, but a real internal failure usually looks more like a small blowtorch venting from the cell, hot enough to create serious flames. Imagine a small butane torch burning inside a cheap plastic housing. That can quickly become a problem. In one of the videos about the house fire, they showed a scene of what I interpreted to be a picture of a battery from one of the solar lights, though I'm not positive about that detail. The one shown was a small 2¼ watt-hour lithium-ion cell. If that solar light did start the fire, a few things stand out. It happened at the end of fall, after 9 p.m. at night, so overcharging from direct sunlight wasn't a factor. I couldn't find exact weather details for that day, but most small solar lights struggle to get a full charge during winter anyway. One possible contributor could be charging at very low temperatures, which can damage the battery and lead to an internal short over time. But the most likely cause is probably just a defective cell that finally failed, creating an internal short. Even though a 2 watt-hour battery is small, it can still generate enough heat to ignite cheap plastics. And once that plastic catches fire, it can easily spread to whatever flammable material the light is mounted on or around. This is the TechNet TK-SL003. First, these lights have nothing to do with the one suspected in the Tennessee fire. I just realized I was about to mount something to my house without even knowing what was inside it and how it was made. That didn't seem very smart. Bought in a 6-pack, these run about $10 each. They put out a decent amount of light, so the price isn't bad. They're rated IP66. When mounted with the back vertical, they seem somewhat water resistant, otherwise not so much. The back has screws, but it looks like silicone is the main thing holding it together. The solar panel frame is separate from the main light fixture. This large opening at the top is probably where water gets in. There wasn't nearly enough silicone to seal it properly. Inside we can see the battery, a single 18650 cell, mounted directly in the plastic housing. I mean, there is nothing separating the battery from the plastic. There's a decent silicone bead around it, but as you can see, the fixture still collected quite a bit of water. Proper mounting orientation clearly matters with these. Here's how the battery sits. Right at the top, in close proximity to the back plate, and surrounded by plastic ears on the ends. First, I want to check if the small control board has basic protection, overcharge cutoff, and overcurrent discharge protection. The overcharge protection kicks in right around 4.29 volts. I tested it several times and it was consistent, and that I consider good. The overcurrent protection trips at just under 2 amps, well below what the 18650 can actually handle, so that I think is very good. So the two key electrical safety features are working as they should. That overcharge cutoff is especially important because of what the solar panel can actually put out. I measured this on a clear day in mid-March, just after 10 a.m. These numbers give a realistic idea of what the solar panel can actually put out in normal conditions. There's a single Schottky diode between the solar panel and the battery. It drops about half a volt. Even with that drop, the panel still puts out enough voltage to overcharge and damage the battery if the protection circuit ever fails. The battery itself is an off-brand 1800 mAh cell from Shenzhen Topway Technology. These go for about 18 to 20 cents each in bulk. If anyone has any real-world experience with batteries from this company, good or bad, drop a comment please. Basic battery protection is present, which is good, but there's no conformal coating on the circuit board, which is concerning given how easily water gets inside. The control circuit is pretty basic. There's a PIR motion sensor, the large round module with a rectangular window, an 8-pin chip that is likely a microcontroller, a couple of MOSFETs to switch the LEDs, and down here a small 5-pin chip that handles the battery protection. With no protective coating and visible corrosion already starting on the board, I'm not optimistic about long-term outdoor reliability. Even with all the protection circuits in place, a defective cell could still fail internally over time. The protection circuit could even fail and lead to the battery shorting out. From a safety standpoint, the real question is, what happens if the cell fails catastrophically, especially since it's mounted directly against the plastic? So I'm going to try and simulate the battery catastrophically failing in the fixture. I recall reading that the flame temperature of burning lithium electrolyte vapors is usually between 9 and 1200 degrees C, though the hottest I've seen listed was around 1500. I've got the propane torch turned down pretty low here, but it's still producing a hotter flame than what the battery would generate in a failure. The goal here isn't an exact match. It's to see how quickly the plastic ignites and what happens once the heat source is removed. Well, I could have pulled the torch away a few seconds faster there, probably on fire in less than 6 seconds. There's a light breeze today, and at first it looked like the flame might die down. But no, it's spreading. The plastic is definitely not flame retardant. The back plate is burning just as easily as the clear parts. The flames are spreading, and it's dropping burning pieces of plastic. Keep in mind, this isn't even the full fixture. There's even more plastic in the complete unit. This is absolutely a fire hazard. Those larger flaming drops are still burning on the concrete. If this were mounted above dry vegetation or shrubs, it could easily start a much bigger fire. What surprises me the most is how close it comes to igniting the 2x4. That plastic is burning hot. Okay, as I suspected, I'm not mounting these on the house. I'm glad I took the time to open one up and test it. These lights are not constructed in a way that makes me comfortable attaching them to a dwelling, at least not the type of dwelling I'm living in. If you're mounting them on stone, masonry, or metal with nothing flammable around them, they'd probably be okay. It's a risk assessment kind of thing, and this falls into that high-impact, low-probability category. The chance of a single cell failing catastrophically might be 1 in a million, or even less. But when the potential cost is your home, or worse, the probability needs to be driven as close to 0 as possible. Mounting these on a wooden house moves you in the wrong direction. This test also helped me understand how a small solar light could start a real house fire. All the holes in the Swiss cheese have to line up, but it only takes once. Cheap plastics like this are extremely flammable, and even a tiny lithium-ion battery failing in just the right way can ignite them. Once the plastic is burning, everything changes. Thanks for watching this bare-bones solar light safety test. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.